Topping today's news, police investigating a double murder on Harbor Island. The Minister of National Security reacts to a viral video of fishermen in a brawl at sea. The Office of the Prime Minister and Concord Wilshire reacts to a media report suggesting the Gran Klein deal has fallen through and a 42-year-old man arrested for sexual assault of a minor. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jareno Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thank you so much for joining us. 2 men died on Harbor Island this morning after being shot multiple times. Police say it happened shortly after midnight in the area of Bay Street. When police arrived at the scene, one of the men was already dead at the scene. The second was taken to the local clinic, but medical officials were not able to save him. Reports say several patrons were gathered outside a business establishment when a unidentified man wearing all black fired several shots at the men and then fled the scene. Today, while at the police headquarters, the Minister for National Security, Wayne Munro, was asked for his level of concern considering this incident took place on one of our beloved family islands.
I'm concerned about a double murder, about a single murder. I'm concerned about armed robberies. I'm concerned about car thefts. All of them are departures from the law. The fact of the matter is that when you have persons who can move freely across this country, when you have persons who decide to do things that are unlawful, murder is the manifestation of the highest crime you can commit. And so I'm concerned about every murder. I'm concerned about car thefts. As a people, we have to get back to being law-abiding. That's a choice we make.
The incident has left residents of Harbor Island in shock. Police continue to search for the shooter. This marks the 8th and 9th murders for this year. Minister of National Security Wayne Munro also urging Bahamians to report suspected poaching incidents to the proper authorities following a viral video showing a confrontation at sea. The video, which circulated widely over the weekend, appears to show individuals engaging suspected poachers into the Bahamian waters and border guards. However, the minister says no formal report was made to law enforcement.
I've seen the video. He has seen the video. Unfortunately, there was no formal reporting of it. That feeds back to just what we're talking about here. We have over 180,000 square miles of waters to patrol to prevent bad actors coming into our country and transiting through to our neighbors. And so we've invested in a number of platforms. Upstairs, you would have seen safe boats that the United States government has given to the Drug Enforcement Unit. What was said in the Defense Force statements, we reiterate. We're investing in platforms, we're investing in technology. But just as a policeman can't be everywhere on the land, the Defense Force can't be everywhere over 180,000 square miles. When something happens, we're encouraging people to make a report.
Munro says the Bahamas has more than 180,000 square miles of water to patrol, and while the government continues to invest in marine vessels and surveillance technology, the Defense Force cannot be everywhere at once. But he noted that the Defense Force operates fast interceptor boats capable of traveling up to 50 knots, allowing officers to respond quickly once incidents are properly reported. The minister was asked if he condemns the action that he saw in that video.
I don't see the full picture of it. If they're being attacked, then they have a right to defend themselves. But without seeing a full picture of what is happening, I don't pass judgment.
Mr. Munro says without knowing what led to the confrontation, he will not speculate at this time. It may be the season of Lent, but it's obviously difficult to stop once the political gloves are off and a general election looming. Today, on the FNM's Facebook page, their chairman, Dr. Dwayne Sands, hitting out at Prime Minister Philip Davis, accusing him of telling any number of alleged untruths.
Let's start with the Gran Klein hotel deal in Grand Bahama, where the country has repeatedly been advised to wait and see, with deadline after deadline after deadline slipping away year after year. You just can't trust or take what Philip tell you as gospel. And now I hear, sip, sip, say the deal been dead must be almost 4 months. This week, just gone, he was at it again. And the Prime Minister falsely claimed that all contracts related to the government's energy reform, including the controversial Pike Agreement, have been tabled in Parliament. Well, that ain't true. In yet another sad example of the government talking out a different side of their mouth, the Minister of Energy contradicted Philip big time. Boy, she hum, and she ha, and she twists. Trying to say, well, he lied, but he ain't really lie, because he tell us to do it, but we ain't do it. You remember the story. Cabinet ministers have regularly told a different story than the Prime Minister on significant policy issues.
Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, Latre Raming, released a statement this morning that said a report by Eyewitness News regarding the $120 million Gran Klein deal in Grand Bahama and that deal collapsing 4 months ago is incorrect. Well, in a statement of its own released early this afternoon, Concord Wilshire Group categorically refuted that media report. The statement said the Wilshire Group continues to work collaboratively and constructively with the government towards redevelopment of the Gran Klein property, and that discussions remain active and productive. Richard Bosworth, CEO of Lucayan Resort for the Concord Wilshire Group, said, quote, "We want to be very clear. The redevelopment of the Gran Klein Resort is moving forward, and reports suggesting otherwise are inaccurate and misleading," end quote. Concord Wilshire also confirmed that within the next 2 weeks, the company will announce the formal commencement of development and construction activities. And finally, in this segment, you probably heard about it, that bomb threat at the Grand Bahama power plant last week that caused officials to cut off the power island-wide for safety reasons. Well, the perpetrator was hauled before the court today. The 32-year-old male was arraigned before the magistrate's court in Freeport, Grand Bahama, charged with the offense of causing public terror and, quite frankly, shutting down much of Grand Bahama that remained without power for several hours. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Police are investigating a case of sexual assault that happened in the area of Andros Avenue and Hepburn Alley. That's in the Coconut Grove area. It happened shortly before 9 p.m. on Sunday. Concerned residents contacted police after seeing a man having sex with a young female inside a vehicle at a vacant property. Police arrested a 42-year-old man in connection with that incident. Police in Grand Bahama are investigating 2 separate dog attacks over the weekend, which resulted in 2 adult men getting medical attention after being bitten to the leg. At least one of the incidents involves a pit bull. Investigations continue with both matters, and the owners of both dogs could face prosecution. As it relates to the power purchase agreement between the Andros Renewable Energy Company and Bahamas Power and Light, we heard from Prime Minister Philip Davis, who is excited about the project bringing 3 Andros communities into a more modern and reliable era of power generation, using engines powered by liquefied natural gas and replacing old diesel engines. Well, today we hear from the Member of Parliament for South and Central Andros, Leon Lundy, who believes the agreement will result in an increase in pace in economic development as well.
The 25-year power purchase agreement brings long-term stability to energy pricing and planning. Stability attracts investment, stability supports expansion, and stability creates confidence for decades to come. And beyond that period, these stations will continue to serve the island with the flexibility to evolve toward even more advanced and sustainable technologies.
The 3 communities to be impacted include Nicholstown, Fresh Creek Andros, and The Bluff. The deal, signed with a Bahamian-owned company led by CEO Ken Kerr, is expected to produce 18 to 20% of the total energy supply needed for the entire island of Andros. Meanwhile, the Free National Movement says they are just getting started with their review of those energy reform agreements the government released last week. But they say already they are bad deals for the Bahamas. In a statement, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard said the contracted rates for electricity generation under these agreements are significantly above what most Bahamians pay today. He said when the fuel surcharge is added to the base rate, many Bahamians will be paying 50 to 55 cents per kilowatt hour, which is not modernization, but a tax that will negatively impact homes and businesses nationwide. And finally, National Marriage Week is celebrated, and they are into their third year of celebrations. Founder of the Marriage Children Family Alliance, Shell Walking, says strong marriages are the foundation of a strong nation. She is urging Bahamians to be more intentional about family formation and sustainability. While acknowledging the realities faced by single parents, Walking says two-parent households often provide a greater support for parents and children alike.
Based on research and, of course, again, the academic, spiritual, and scientific experiential evidence shows that strong marriages tend to be a strong foundation for a nation in terms of children outcomes and in terms of societal outcomes.
National Marriage Week culminated today at the Fox Hill Community Center, where they hosted the inaugural Marriage, Family, and Sustainability Conference, where guest speakers discussed strategies to strengthen families across the country.
A two-parent family has a greater chance and has more support, a will, and then being able to sustain a marriage, being able to sustain a family.
That will do it for your JCN Evening News. It's been a pleasure to have you tuned in with us. We'll see you next time.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.